this is Miss Evans. We're going to talk a little bit about percents today. This should be a review. When we are talking about percents, my favorite way to set these up would be using the formula part over whole equals percent over 100. I love this for a few reasons. It's because it works with tons of percent problems. I like that you set it up like this every time. You always know your percent's going to go here. You always know your 100 is going to go here. And then you just have to figure out your part versus your whole. So let's take a look at an example here. Baseball pitcher won 80% of the games that he pitched. If he pitched 35 games, how many games did he win? So we know 80%. Anytime you have a percent sign, that's going to go in the percent place in this formula. So our 80 would go here. I'd like you to take a second and see if you can figure out how to set the other numbers up. You can press pause. It says he pitched 35 games. It wants to know how many he won. So if we know anything about baseball, we would know that pitching 35 games would be the whole number, and how many games he won would be the part. So in this case, we don't know the part. So that is where our variable is going to go. So here's what your proportion should look like. X over 35 equals 80 over 100. Remember, 100 is always going to go in this bottom right position. And then we're going to take this and we're going to simply solve this as we solve proportions. You can do this a few ways. You can do 35 times 80 divided by 100, or you can set it up as an equation. You can do 100 times x would be 100x, and then 80 times 35, which is, I think, the way, oops, I did that. Why is it not going? And I'm in the way there. Let's move myself here. So here we have 100x equals 80 times 35. And then we went ahead and multiplied the 80 times the 35, which gave us 2,800. And then we know to get rid of this 800 times x, we're going to divide both sides by 800, which is going to give us x equals 28. So that tells us that of the 35 games that he pitched, he won 28 of them. So let's look at another example. Drew was an electrician who worked 7 months out of the year. It wants to know what percent of the year did he work. So let's take a look at, again, where do we add things? Where do we put things in this formula over here? Do we know the part and the whole? We actually do in this problem. The part is the 7 months, so that would go in there. The whole, we know how many months are in a year, which would be 12. We don't know the percent for this problem. And again, the 100 always stays the same. So it should set up something like this. 7 over 12 equals x over 100. Again, we've solved this two different ways. You can do 100 times 7 divided by 12, or you can set it up as an equation and do 12x equals 7 times 100, for in this case would be 700. And that would look something like this. 12x equals 700, and then in order to solve that, we divide both sides by 12, which would give us 58.3%. All right, I hope that helps you with percents. Have a great day.